Welcome to the second episode of the Build You podcast. I'm Coach Rich Thurman, also known as Coach RT3. Today we're going to be talking about how every personal trainer who comes into this business thinks that they're going to get rich doing this job. Most personal trainers get into this business for the complete wrong reason. They think it's a glamorous opportunity to have a free schedule, work how you want, do what you want when you want to, but they don't realize that, first of all, it's a service industry job. And so your objective or your job is to serve others. And so when you extrapolate back to the beginning, you have to ask yourself, what is it that this job provides? Or what is it that we do with people? And at the end of the day, it's helping people. It's guiding people. It's teaching people. And so one of the things that people kind of come into the job thinking is like, oh, I can work somebody out, or I can train them, or I can make you sweat, or I can get you to lose weight. I know how to do all that stuff. It's easy. Just have them do a bunch of box jumps, some mountain climbers, and some burpees. At some point, that gets old. At some point, people are like, I can do that on my own. What am I hiring you for? To crack some sort of whip and be a facilitator? So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, where is your intrinsic value? And so if you are a trainer who is just starting and you are trying to build your business, you should step back and think to yourself, what am I doing in order to build value within what it is that I provide and who I am? The field is not glamorous. The field is not as Hollywood as it looks. Obviously, there are going to be some trainers and coaches who are super successful. Some people work with professional athletes. Some people work with movie stars. Some people work with high earners. But not everybody does. The vast majority of people don't work with movie stars and professional athletes. So you have to think about that and consider that. Also, you have to consider the fact that the vast majority of people who work with those types of people have opportunities that are spotty at best. Unless you're traveling with that person, unless you're working with that person 24/7, you're barely probably going to see that person, because professional athletes spend a chunk of their time in season or working at the facilities and don't have time to be with you until the off season. And then celebrities and movie stars and people like that are also going to be out on studio and filming and busy with events. So the training is going to be spotty. There's a sweet spot in training where working with the type of person who doesn't travel too much, who has a little bit of income that can afford working with you, and there's a kind of sweet spot where you can kind of keep that consistency. But remember, the higher you go up into income brackets and the higher you move into these social circles, the more spotty the training opportunities or the training consistency is going to be, because people always have something else they need to do. They have work trips, they have business trips, they have, all these different things that keep them from being consistent with you. So that changes your income. Now, the thing that you have to consider on the other end is that when you're working with people who jobs are at the whim of a manager or a boss or a company that's doing mass layoffs, you have to also consider the fact that you may lose people due to financial circumstances. And so there's both ends of that when it comes to training, and it's a stressful job. Being completely honest with you, it's a financially stressful job, and it has been that way since the very beginning. But there are ways where you can diversify your income and build a business that is more robust and that provides you with what you need in order to maintain a successful income and a stable income that you can provide for yourself and or your family. But it's not going to happen overnight. The vast majority of trainers don't last more than a few years. And the reason is because it is stressful. It's financially uncertain, especially in the early days when you don't have the connections, you don't have ways in which to get new clients in, you don't have the marketing skills, you don't have all of these other things that are helping you drive more clients to yourself or helping you maintain and keep clients. So I always say it's easier to keep a client than it is to acquire a new one. And so that there's a cost to acquiring new clientele. And that's something that's on the business side of things. But there are periods of time of the year where income drops, usually around the holidays and Christmas. Also, if you're working with certain levels of clients or certain clients, they leave and go away for summer, or there's spring break, or there's all these different times of the year where you're going to be experiencing shifts in income based on the type of clients that you're working with. And so that's a natural ebb and flow of working as a personal trainer. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to build a broad business as opposed to just honing in on one specific type of income stream. One of the biggest challenges with this job is once people seem to think that they can't make a living with it, they quit. And that's fine. There are people, though, and if you're passionate about helping people, you stick to it. I'm not saying you have to stick to it. One of the biggest things that you can do as a person in life is to try different things, is to move on when you feel it doesn't work for you. That's important. You have to know when to fold them. But if you really love helping people and you really love working with people, it's going to show. And what you give to people and what you bring to people and how you change lives, it's going to change your life, and it's going to help people, and it's going to have a ripple effect throughout the lives of many different people. There's going to be people out there that are telling you that this job is a hobby. They're telling you that why don't you get a real job, or why don't you get a stable income. You have to block out all of that noise. But also you have to understand and curb your enthusiasm and understand that there are constraints and limits, especially if you're going to be a sole proprietor or you're going to be the only one providing service. If you're going to build a broader business where you have other people and you're going to build an actual facility and things like that, that's a whole different type of model, and that income is going to be different. But remember, that's also going to ebb and flow because it has to do with people's ability to have the income and the resources to put towards doing something that they feel is a luxury. So remember that when it comes to training and when it comes to understanding that not everyone's making six figures in the fitness industry as a trainer. There's a variety of different ways that people are making income these days, and there's never been more opportunity than there is now with the advent of social media and the ways in which you can get out there and show the world that you exist. It didn't exist in 2004 when I first started. There was no way for me to talk to someone in New York or show someone in New York what I could do, and there was no way for me to train that person virtually. So there are more ways than ever to work with people and to keep your income coming in the way you like it. You just got to be willing to figure out what's best for you and what's going to work for your business and your life. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found some of this information to be useful. And I look forward to chatting with you again in episode 3, where we discuss some of the essential business things that you need as a trainer based on what some of the feedback we got from some of our Instagram supporters. Once again, you can find all of the ways to connect with me in the show notes below.